Kristallnacht found me in Dienstlaken, Germany, in a kinderheim that was actually conducted by Dr. Rothschild, one of the Rothschild family. We had an ordinary day that day. It was the 9th of November, and somehow we had just dinner and things were going along fine. And suddenly all the lights went out. We were just terribly shocked because it became totally dark. And my best friend and I, Kate, grabbed each other by the hand and we tried to run to the beginning of the dining room. I didn't hear any. Our counselors were shouting directions that neither of us were hearing, and as we were trying to get into the front of the dining room, we encountered an invasion, it seemed, of strangers, big men with heavy black boots, and stomping all around us. Like one person, we flew into the pantry and kind of found refuge amongst all the amongst paper goods and brooms and whatever happens to be in the pantry. There was an enormous amount of crystal being broken down. We heard glass chattering and thundering sounds, and suddenly we watched in horror as all our furnishings in the dining room were thrown through what used to be just a few minutes ago doors and windows. We saw that even from the upstairs, all our belongings and the beddings were being thrown in the backyard into our playground, where usually there were swings and fun equipment for us to use. After a while, the noise abated, and we were pulled out by our counselors, who brought us out of the pantry, and we walked to the front of the house, where all our other friends were standing waiting for us, and all of us walked together to this one-room schoolhouse from the kinderheim, who was just about just a half a block away from their home. There we found mattresses of straw on the floor, and we just collapsed and fell asleep. The next day, it was the 10th of November. We were able to get back to the kinderheims, the backyard where all the items were thrown, and there was just chaos all over. And as I was standing there, I truly cannot remember actually that anybody was with me. It seems that I was just standing there alone, and I was viewing what was going on around me with all the rubble that was on the floor. And lo and behold, a miracle happened. I saw my photo album sticking out from amongst all the rubble that had been thrown there the night before. Picked everything up, and my pictures were just here and there and everywhere, and I was able to find all of them and put them together. And I must say that those pictures represented for me my identity, my very being, because that's all that was really proving that I existed. And it was going to be my identity for many years, and anybody who met me after that had to look at my pictures, and that was what what was so wonderful, the fact that I had been able to put this together again. A few days later, we went to Cologne and met 600 other Jewish children to go to the kinder transport. I think it must probably be the latest kinder transport that went out of Cologne. And so 600 Jewish German children went and left their country forever. I guess I realized I lost my country, I lost my dad, I lost my language, and I lost my youth. As we were in Cologne for a couple of days, another kinder transport, the train took us to Brussels, Belgium, and there the Belgian people had been asked to take in the refugee children for 3 to 6 months until they could go either to Israel or to their parents or into America. I had these wonderful ladies, Madame Gossens and her daughter, Germaine, picked me up on January 5th, 1949, and took me to their home, and they opened up their heart and home to me. They went to extraordinary lengths all during the war years to make sure that I was safe, and even though it could have cost their own lives if people had known that they harbored a Jewish child. I'm so lucky to tell you, in 93, with my husband on my side, we went to Jerusalem, to the Yad Vashem, and were able to put the names of my aunties into the large 10,000 people at that time, and now it's 20,000 now, of the righteous amongst all nations. I feel that this completed my joy of that transpired after Kristallnacht. And I must tell you that somehow this year was just so difficult for me to be here and to reminisce. I don't know, is it because I'm really getting old now, or whether it is more difficult to go into the past. But Dr. Heron had mentioned to just express what we were feeling, and I guess somehow she got my feelings all the way up there suddenly, and I found it, I don't know, you probably will have to get a psychiatrist after I leave, but I found it so much more difficult because in the past I have come here, I have gone to schools, and I told my story, but I told my story. I guess I never told them how I felt. And so I also wanted to tell you that no wonder that after 75 years that have gone by, if I hear a siren from a police car or from an ambulance, or even the 5th of July fireworks, everything that was noisy would bring in this feeling of it would put me in a flight and run and flight mode, because it just brought back that terrible night. And I can only tell you that I am very thankful that I can tell you the story as it is, because it somehow came to a very good end, and I feel that I am very fortunate to be here, and I want to thank you for telling me our story.